Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to the Conservative Crows, where we discuss the current government's actions and policies that we believe are detrimental to our constitutional republic and the American way of life. Today, we are delving into the controversial policies implemented by Joe Biden and their detrimental consequences on America. We're taking a closer look at Biden and his administration's policies and actions and how they have not exactly lived up to the expectations promised during his campaign. Joe Biden promised unity and healing to a divided nation, but his policies have done the exact opposite. We'll be covering a range of topics today, including inflation, energy, the border, foreign affairs, and the Second Amendment. There is many more topics and issues I could cover, but I don't want this to be a super long video. Let's start off with inflation. Biden's policies have resulted in skyrocketing inflation, hitting American families hard. Even though the rate of inflation has come down, due to the Federal Reserve increasing the federal interest rate, the price increases caused by the high inflation have not come down. Prices for everyday essentials like gas, groceries, and housing have surged, making it harder for middle-class Americans to make ends meet. One of the major concerns that many Americans had was the potential impact of Biden's economic policies on inflation. Unfortunately, the reality has been a significant increase in prices across the board. From everyday goods to housing, the cost of living has skyrocketed, putting a strain on households and small businesses alike. Make no mistake, Joe Biden is responsible for inflation with his reckless spending, and his Inflation Reduction Act, which does nothing to reduce inflation, in fact spends even more taxpayer dollars on Green New Deals that have no significant positive impact on our environment. Next up, let's talk about energy. Biden's energy policies have taken a toll on our energy independence. The Biden administration's focus on transitioning to renewable energy sources has had several unintended consequences. The suspension of the Keystone XL pipeline, restrictions on drilling permits, and a push for green initiatives have led to a decrease in domestic energy production, contributing to higher gas prices and a less stable energy market. By canceling pipelines and restricting drilling on federal lands, we have become more reliant on foreign oil, putting us at the mercy of other nations and jeopardizing American jobs in the energy sector. Also, he has put our nation in jeopardy by depleting the strategic petroleum reserves which are needed to sustain America's energy in times of emergencies and crises. Moving on to immigration, the situation at the border has become increasingly challenging. Biden's intentional and weak immigration policies have led to a surge in illegal border crossings, an influx of upwards of 20 million, since Biden took office. This is putting strain on our economy and compromising our national security. Despite promises of a more humane and effective approach, the surge in illegal border crossings has compromised resources and created a humanitarian crisis. The Biden administration's policies seem to have fallen short of effectively managing the border and addressing the root causes of migration. Criminals and drugs are flooding into our country, threatening the safety and well-being of American citizens. We have already seen a rise in crime from illegal migrants. Now, let's shift our focus to foreign affairs. In Ukraine, the administration's response to Russian aggression has been criticized for lacking a clear strategy to include $113.4 billion in taxpayer money being sent to Ukraine so far, with no oversight or accountability. As of today, February 16, 2024, Biden and the Democrats are pushing a Ukraine funding bill which will allocate another $61 billion to Ukraine. We are supposedly funding them to help repel the attacks from Russia, but keep in mind Ukraine is not part of NATO. And even though it may be popular in Washington to aid Ukraine, popular doesn't mean smart. Opening up America's stockpile to Ukraine is not in Washington's national security interest. In fact, it is bound to make a conflict that is mostly frozen into a more deadly one, and it complicates any reasonable chance of a diplomatic resolution. Furthermore, relations with Russia have been strained, and critics argue that the administration has not taken a strong approach to important geopolitical issues. And let's not forget about the disastrous handling of Afghanistan. Biden's hasty withdrawal left innocent people stranded, 13 American soldiers dead, and handed the country back over to the Taliban. Turning back to the Second Amendment, perhaps the most concerning aspect of Biden's presidency is his disregard for the Constitution and our fundamental rights. From infringing on free speech by censoring conservative voices, to pushing for gun control measures that violate our Second Amendment rights, which has been a contentious issue. Biden's push for gun control threatens our Second Amendment rights. He wants to restrict law-abiding citizens, while criminals continue to wreak havoc on our streets. The Biden administration calling for stricter gun control measures have sparked debates about individual rights and the role of government. Gun owners express concerns about potential infringements on their rights without clear evidence of how such measures would effectively address the root causes of violence. Gun owners know that the true intentions of the Biden administration is to disarm its citizens and make them more easily controlled by our government without the ability to stand against them. The reason our founding fathers were so adamant about the Second Amendment was they understood people not only have a right to defend themselves, but they also experienced how a government, unchecked, could become tyrannical. They knew the American people have a right and a responsibility to keep their government in check, and they cannot do that unarmed. Instead of prioritizing the needs and interests of American citizens, Biden seems more focused on appeasing radical ideologies and international alliances. This has weakened our position on the global stage and compromised America's sovereignty. It portrays weakness to our enemies and a lack of confidence to our allies. This is not who we are as a nation and a people, and we are long overdue to do something about it. Biden's policies and actions have been eroding the very foundations of our democracy, while at the same time, accusing Donald Trump and his supporters, what he refers to as MAGA extremists, as being the ones actually destroying it. So, what can we do? It's time to unmask the damage caused by Joe Biden's policies, and it's crucial that we hold Biden and his administration accountable for the damage they have caused. We can't sit idly by, while Biden and his minions destroy our country. But, instead, we must demand policy changes that will help restore our economy, secure our borders, protect our energy independence, and preserve our constitutional and God-given rights. We must also vote in the upcoming election for those that we believe will truly represent America's interest and sovereignty, who will uphold the Constitution and the will of the people. We must enforce upon our representatives that this is a constitutional republic, not a democracy, and the people rule, not the government nor the politicians. In conclusion, as we've explored various aspects of Joe Biden's policies, it's evident that some of the promises made during the campaign have not fully materialized. Whether it's the economic impact, energy policies, immigration challenges, or foreign relations, there's a growing sentiment that the administration has not lived up to the expectations set by voters and in fact have been extremely detrimental to America and its citizens. As always, it's essential to engage in open and constructive discussions to better understand the complexities of these issues. Thanks for joining me on this exploration, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more content. Until next time, take care and thanks for watching.